Okay, rule is I can't talk. All I can do is think to myself and write. And I want to see what happens. So I'm thinking to myself, I want to read this out loud, but then I go off somewhere else. So if I read it to myself, I actually might get my point of view out and then explain it, which would be shocking. This, I think, is like a conversation that an advertiser should have with themselves if they wanted to be advertised towards. Like, if they wanted an advertisement to come to them, they would want it like this. Or this is how I would like it to come to me if I were to see an advertisement. So these are the ads that I would be more willing or more likely to watch. But hopefully I can describe this clearly. With a potential customer, don't you want to inquire about a product? Don't you want the introduction to your product be a natural state of, this is hard, a natural state of inquiry? Don't you want the introduction of your... So this happened to me, and I'm trying to figure out if I can describe it. I was watching, I think I already covered this in the past one, but to expand on it, I was watching a commercial with Samsung, or a commercial that Samsung had, and I wanted to replay the commercial. And I was thinking, normally people don't want to replay ads. What made this ad so interesting that made me want to replay it, that made me want to engage it more than it had capacity or bandwidth to? Is that something that a advertiser could advertise and say, hey, if your customer wants to, if the person your ad is being shown to wants to engage with it more, you can pay more for your ad and include this other information that they'd get. Basically, I'm trying to describe that in a tweet. I'm almost there. Or the question that hopefully would end with that being the answer, if that makes sense. If I engage in an ad via a smart contract, isn't that better? Should I put a comma there? Isn't that a better relationship to develop with a potential customer? To engage them in an ad via a smart contract. Basically, an equal exchange of value made by me hitting the replay button. Contractually, I'm saying, I'm going to give you some of my time if you give me more of yours. They get that contract and say, okay, what do you want to hear? The 2-second version, the 4-second version, or the 45-minute version? And I might have to pay a little bit more for the 45-minute version. But if this is a contract of, like, say, 4 cents, and I'm like, I kind of want to see where this could go for 2 minutes, or for 2 seconds, or for whatever. What the heck? What was that? Interesting. Would that still qualify as an ad? Are you still trying to sell them on something? Yes. If I engage in an ad, doesn't that make you feel better as a person? And isn't that a better relationship to want to develop with a potential customer? Yes, it is. Don't you want the introduction of your product to be here's where it gets tricky, to be while they are in a natural state of inquiry? How do I imagine? Do you want? I could replace that with... See, this is where words are very, very, very interesting. Oh, this is that song. The song where the lady's like, oh, sex slave. We'll go figure. Alright, we've been jamming out for that a little too long. I'm going to a different one. That's why it sounded like she was having an orgasm. I don't know if I've ever heard anyone say that in a video before. Imagine. Make this important. Imagine an introduction. Literally what happened to me. Imagine an introduction of your product while the asset, how do I describe the person watching the ad, the value, the person that the person that they're looking to get the most value out of? Who is that referred to as in what's the word? Who is that referred to as in the in advertisement terms or in the marketing industry? Is it just your target market, or is it like number one top grade A client. Like the person that you want to have to consume your product responsibly but religiously for the rest of their life. Is that just like an everyday customer, or is that called something else? Basically, the something else, the other word, those are the people I'm interested in connecting with, or interested in telling a company like Samsung, say, hey, this got my attention and I'm going to tell you why. And if you did this with it, you might attract more attention from those that value your products even more. If you make an ad like this, I don't know, like how... Basically, I don't know if that's just a good ad, or is that investing in second tier advertisement, like more targeted advertisement for higher income, I don't know. Basically, that probably isn't a 5-second or a 5-cent ad. You might have to put a little more money into it to get replay out of it and different story endings depending on what smart contract is signed from this viewer. What's selected? I don't know. It's a work in progress, but now let me try and finish this. And I might have to do it silently. While the customer is in a state of inquiry. That might ring a bell. Product while the customer is in a state of inquiry. Well, I can get rid of this one. Here I go again with these stupid things. Let me read it over again. Would it help if I did this? Would that still qualify as an ad? Yes. Are we still trying to sell them on something? Yes. If I engage in an ad via a smart contract, isn't that a better relationship to develop with a potential customer? Yes. Imagine the introduction, I think is what I'm going for. Imagine the introduction of your product while the customer is in a state of inquiry. Crap. What if I ask the question? What if it's the question, can the introduction of your product while the consumer is in a state of inquiry happen? Like, crap, how am I gonna... if I engage in an ad via smart contract, isn't that a better relationship to start? Isn't that a better relationship to start? See what happens when you change the words out? You get your point across. If I engage in an ad via smart contract, isn't that a better relationship to start with a potential customer? ? Yes. Therefore, can the introduction of your product while the consumer, no. Now I do imagine, because that looked better. Imagine. I think I can remember all this. Imagine the introduction of your product while the customer is in a state of query is ideal. 2 characters. Crap. Imagine the introduction of your product. Imagine there you go. Imagine the introduction of your product while your customer is in a state of inquiry. If they're in a state of mind of asking questions, or if they're in a state of mind of wanting to know more, how do you find those people and how do you put ads in front of them that give information to help answer or to give some clever answers to things they've been thinking about? How is that ad presented to you? I guess is the question I'm coming up with. And the answer is we're going to have to wait a while because essentially, so imagine your artificial intelligence listening to the conversation you're having in your live stream. It then goes and finds information, new information. Say someone out there is talking about this cool new robot that they just figured out and what kind of machine learning it did and what level mobility it had. Say they were trying to advertise like, what is that thing at MIT? I'm always talking about this. The alter ego thing. What if they actually developed a mind reading device? How are they going to then market that to me to purchase it? Well, they got to make an ad. They got to make a... They have to make a brochure. Whatever it is, they have to make a digital story that tells the history of that product. Now, if they have an artificial intelligence, and I'm just going to use that word as a all-encompassing, I'm not sure what to define it now because I don't know if it's going to exist in the future. That's what I'm calling an artificial intelligent digester. So if you basically have your digester looking at your AI digester, I don't know what that is. If you have your AI digester consuming your content live in real time, because it can do it really fast, and it's got everything you've ever put in there, like a blockchain, it's immutable, but it's your own blockchain, so only you can give it or take the value in and out of it. Only you have that. So if you basically say, I just lost my train of thought. Basically adding to your... Okay, the advertising... Let me read this again. Imagine customer state of query. So me listening to the Samsung commercial wanted to be able to... I was willing to give more time to Samsung in exchange for more value, as in a deeper version of the story I was seeing in the ad and making up in my mind. And it was like the futuristic, everyone was in a field making, like all their holographs were combining to make, it's like they were all having the same video game all together, one team battling against another team, all shooting their holograms towards this big Godzilla looking thing, duking it out with one another, and everyone knowing that it's a video game. And then when one team won, it was like sheer elation and everyone was happy. And basically seeing that made me go off the idea deep end as to these products that are going to be made available to us given the right technology and given the right platform. And that literally has already happened today, or we can get there in 6 months. I'm thinking, I don't know, I'm making it up. You can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Always love to learn. But I can see this happening very quickly. So basically advertisers know in real time what I want because my AI is searching the internet, searching wherever, searching for advertisements of things that it thinks I will like. So I tell it to go out and look for ads that judging off what I'm talking about in my live stream or in my recording or in my vlog, whatever it is, while I'm doing that, it goes out and looks, or while I'm watching a YouTube video, put it that way, it goes out and looks for an ad that it thinks I will want to put my time into. That's how I see ads working in the future. It's not rocket science. It's not, well, I don't know, it might be. It's technical science, it's computer science, it's understanding how, I guess, the internet works, and maybe this is how the internet of value plays into it. Because if you can cheaply send a tenth of a cent to an advertiser because you're willing to listen to their ad for a couple more seconds, if that kind of exchange wants to happen, why wouldn't the advertiser put a little more money into telling the story that someone's willing to hear if it's a story that they're trying to sell about their product? Like, that to me is a no-brainer. So, some ads that pop up on YouTube are very tricky. Very tricky. And it's not that I don't like them, and it's not that I don't appreciate them, but I notice how dangerous it is, and it's always Google that comes up at the end. And it always makes me think, whoa, hey, wait a minute. They're tapping into something that on a very, very deep level should be respected globally. They're tapping into, ideas and things. They're tapping into early development psychological triggers that young people live through, and in living through, learn how to grow up and be older, wiser people. Google's tapping into ways to infiltrate that part of your mind with a product or a story that they are promoting. So it can go good or bad, but I always notice that the really good ones that catch me off guard, that make me think, oh crap, this was an ad. Wow, that was a really good ad. Oftentimes they're Google. And I don't know if that's because they got a crap ton of our information on deck, but if I were willing to sell my information to someone else for 0.3 of a cent, looks like I'm going to have to plug in. If I wanted to do that, I should be able to. I should be able to sign. Hold on while we get going for a ride here. I should be able to make that contract with Samsung if I wanted to see other ideas that they were making reference to in their ad. So they were kind of like, their advertisement was sort of like, look at what people can do with our tool. And if my interest was, hey, Samsung, I like this example you're giving now with these tools and what they're doing. Can you tell me more about other things people are doing with your tools? Basically, can you show me something else? And if Samsung can come up with a commercial that displays to me, if Samsung can come up with a commercial that will hold my attention more firmly than the video I was watching before, as long as they have my agreement to do that, aka the smart contract, as long as I've signed that with them and we agree on the terms, I want to give them more time. So I can literally pay someone with my attention, and they in then turn need to pay me with something that they think I will find valuable, aka incorporate into my life, use as a product, learn about it, appreciate it, and promote it. Because that's really the only thing any advertiser, I'm slightly making this up, but it sounds good to me, this is the only thing any advertiser or marketer wants to do, is to be able to get customers and keep them and hold them genuinely. Like, that's, in my point of view, from knowing little to nothing about marketing or advertising, to me, that's what you pay someone for. Well, if this is an idea that I came up with, true, it relies heavily, I'll say, not knowing how much, but it relies significantly on the advent of digital assets and being able to move value across the internet. I'll give it that. But that's possible. That infrastructure is here, and I'm sure at any point in time, willing participants would love to participate in that. And that's where I see this economy of ideas unrolling or unveiling itself off the economy of ideas revealing itself while maintaining a functional what have you on a platform. You know, whatever it is, the platform that shows people, that can farm out your ideas, whether that's a blockchain profile, who knows what it's going to be called. To me, that's the tricky part. The no-brainer to me, and sorry, I'm going around all over the place. The smart contract and the paying a few more cents, that we can do today. So it's kind of like the ball's in Samsung's court to figure out if they should contact YouTube and say, hey, people want to hear really cool, really informative, really interesting ads because it brings them value and they've agreed upon the value in the smart contract. We need to make a platform that allows for that kind of content consumption. You know, it may not be a video or an ad that you see in YouTube. YouTube could just be the gateway, and it says, hey, if you want to see this ad again with premium subscription, click this link. And then you're directed to, you know, Samsung's webpage or Samsung whatever, to where they can say, all right, you want 2 more seconds of this for 0.2 of a second or 0.2 of a cent? This is our best version. This is our best mini, or what are they, shorty. This is the best shorty we have for this product. Bam. You know, what's to say that's not possible? I don't know. To me, it makes sense. To me, I think we should be doing it right now. Are we? I don't think so. If we are, I'd love to be made aware of it, because Lord knows it would focus a little more of this random ranting onto something more productive. Anyway, I think I'm done, which is perfect, because that's the exact size I wanted. Tweet all. And see, I think I was looking... I literally try and do my best to read articles, but literally, no, I don't want to do that. No. Oops. Literally, I start to read it because I want to give someone my feedback and I want to show interest in things, and I start recording a video, and I go off on some... Sorry, there's shice on my screen. I record screen capture, and then 30 minutes later, I seriously don't know why I even was on that article. I don't know. It's very difficult. It's very... First world problems. Very difficult, yes. Chat box. Alright, well, seeing as I don't remember how I got on this topic of what I just spoke about, I guess until next time, and next time will probably be in the next freaking half an hour. Who knows? See ya.